So we started section 2.3 last time. We talked about some notation, some phrases, so that we're all on the same page when we see them and we know what they're asking us for. So just as a real quick reminder, these were 5 phrases that mean the same thing. Instantaneous rate of change, slope of the curve at a point. Those actually came from section 2.2. Slope of the tangent line, which is number 3. We also talked about that in section 2.2. And then we have the limit of the slope of the secant lines. That's the picture that's drawn here. And the new phrase derivative that we're going to see. And that one's going to be the one that we predominantly move forward with and calculations and things like that. So you'll see that one a whole lot more as we continue working. Oh yeah, I remember I did that. Okay. And then the notation for these calculations, any of them that we're looking for, have 3 different ways they can be notated. The first one is df dx. That's how we say it. The second one is f prime of x. Those are the 2 most common. df dx is sort of intuitively the best sort of description or reminder that we're calculating a slope, I think. F prime of x is the simplest that we write, and people tend to sort of gravitate to that one as they move forward. The last one we see used very seldom, but if you see it used, I want to make sure you're not like, what are they asking me about? d dx of f of x also means derivative or rate of change, instantaneous rate of change. So what we're going to do in this section first is talk about how we calculate units and on rates of change. And remember, the units on rates of change, again, most comfortably come from the idea that's given here, where we have our output units on top and our input units on bottom. So as we're taking a look at the first example, it says let B of T be the balance in dollars in a mutual fund T years after the initial investment. What are the units on dB dt? So basically, it's already giving you that you've got B on top and T on bottom, and you need to go back and figure out what the units are that apply to B and apply to T. So what are the units on B? Yeah, it's the balance in dollars, so the units are dollars. Okay? So dollars. That's sort of the numerator. And then per. And then what are the units on T? Years. It's time in years, so the units are years. So the units on the derivative, or the instantaneous rate of change, slope of the curve, the point, whatever you want to call it, the units are dollars per year. Okay? So we're always going to end up with something per something else. That's the way it's always going to work. And it is always going to be output per input. That's how it will always calculate. Now on B and on C, we're encountering interpretations where we're actually going to write out like not just the unit part, but the whole sentence structure of what's going on there. We always start in the center with what's going on, the 3, right, in the parentheses. So the 3, if you notice, is replacing what was originally up here as T. T's time in years. So what's the 3? Yeah, it's 3 years, right? So we're talking about at 3 years or after 3 years. Now, on part B, this is actually something we did way back when, and you guys did fabulous on it on your test. It was the very first question on the test where I had you interpret things, right? So you start on the inside, you say after the 3 years. So what's going on? What's changing? What is it that this function is calculating? Look back up at the language at the top. Martin? Yeah, so the balance in the mutual fund, and I'm going to leave off the in dollars because I'm going to put dollars later anyway, but if you want to put it there too, you can. So it's the balance in the mutual fund account. Or just in the mutual fund, that's how mutual fund investment is how I've got it written. We'll just say mutual fund for short. The balance in the mutual fund, that's what's going on. And what does the 792 represent? That's the balance of the dollars, right? Yeah, so the balance in the mutual fund is $792. You do need the dollar sign on there. That's why I didn't write the word dollars earlier, because I knew I was going to write it later. So after 3 years, the balance is $792. Right? That's just like we did back in section 1.1. Just like. But part C is different. Part C has actually got this prime notation. Now, the situation starts out much the same. We still say after 3 years. Okay, it's always when is it? What is always still what comes next? It was the balance in the mutual fund. It's still the balance of the mutual fund. Okay. And the next part has to do with how it's changing. This is the rate of change. That's the prime notation, right? Is this increasing or is this decreasing? That's what you have to decide next. How is it changing? It is. It's increasing. Do you know why, Doran? Exactly. It's increasing because it's a positive number. 5.6 given right there is positive. So this one would say is increasing, and it's always in that present ing tense. Is increasing by. Okay, so we say when, we say what, we say how it's changing, and then we say what that value is that it's changing. Well, it says 5.6, but I need units on 5.6. What are my units on 5.6? Dollars per year. Yeah, it's the same thing we did on part A, right? Dollars per year. That's all your mutual funds increasing is probably not doing so good. Just saying. $5.6 per year. Any questions on that one? Okay, we're going to do the same kind of thing again on part D. Still interpreting the description. So this one looks a little different. The last one had that prime notation, right? B prime of 3 equals 5.6. This one says dB dt equals negative 4.7 when t is equal to 5.1. So all the pieces are still there. They're just presented to you in a different order. Okay, we still start with talking about when is this happening. So is the when the negative 4.7 or is the when the 5.1? It's the 5.1. And 5.1 in this case is still representing a number of years. So as we start out, we're going to say much the same way as we did before, after 5.1 years. And the rest of it looks, again, the same, the balance of the mutual fund, right? Balance of the mutual fund. Is it increasing or decreasing this time? Decreasing. It's negative, right? So again, we use that present tense ing is decreasing. All right, I'm out of space right there. I'm going to move this. Is decreasing by what?
$4.7.
Fabulous. $4.7 per year. So E was the third notation. So we've had the prime notation, that was part B. I'm sorry, part C. We had this ratio notation, dB dt on part D. And then on part E, we have that third sort of awkward notation. But all the pieces, again, they're all still there, just in a slightly different place. So right now, what is my after when? Is it the 4 or the 0.16? It's the 4. So we're going to start out with this time after 4 years. Y'all know what comes next? The balance of the mutual fund. Okay, it's always is decreasing or is increasing. Which one is it here?
Increasing.
Yep, increasing. Is increasing by, 16 cents per year. 0.16 dollars per year. Keep it in the dollars per year because we were already talking in dollars per year. I do recognize that's the same as 16 cents, but Please don't mix up your decimal notation and your cents notation, because sometimes you get things like Sonic telling you that their happy hour drink is going, or it's actually not the happy hour one. They tell you at the morning hours that a Sonic drink, the one over on Harrison, tells me that the Sonic drink is 0.99 cents. Do y'all know what's wrong with that? That is less than a penny. Have I already said that in this class? Have I told you that story yet? Yeah, it's a problem. So don't mix up your notations between dollars and cents. All right, note on the bottom here, the units for derivative are the same as those as a slope. Output units per input units, which I already mentioned before. So if you've already taken a look, you're already aware of this, but just in case you haven't, which you weren't expected to, the homework in this section looks just like this. All it is writing interpretations. You're not calculating anything, or if you are calculating, you're doing so just like you did back in section 2.2, right, where you draw the tangent line and you get a number. Okay, there's no other calculations. There's nothing else except for interpretations. The biggest part of 2.3 is learning how to interpret what we're finding. Sound good? All right.